I'm Jenny Carlson here with Kyle Fredrickson. We're in Stillwater where Baylor has defeated Oklahoma State 45-35. First loss of the year for the Cowboys. And Kyle, we knew that this was going to be a tough run for the Cowboys, obviously. November to remember, it's been dubbed. And Baylor comes in here and just really asserts itself early. Jarrett Stidham playing great in the first half. Then he gets hurt and they have to go to third-string quarterback, essentially Chris Johnson, a guy that had been playing wide receiver until Seth Russell gets hurt. Looked like that might be a benefit to OSU, and instead it was anything but. That Baylor offense just kept clicking.
Yeah, you know, when Baylor went up 14-0 early in the game, you kind of felt maybe this was one that could get out of hand. You know, the Cowboys have been in the situation before at Iowa State, Texas Tech, but this is just an offense that it's a little bit tougher to go against and to make up that ground, especially the way that Baylor was running the football. I mean, they ran 73 times for tonight, more than 300 yards, and they were doing it at will, especially in the second half. Because like you mentioned, Stidham goes out at halftime. They bring in Chris Johnson, and you figure that's a matchup they could exploit. But they stayed committed to the run game, didn't force him to make any really tough decisions, and they really escaped. And you know, this is a game where OSU wins the turnover battle 3-0, but it's still not enough, just considering how dominant this Baylor offense was.
Well, you mentioned dominance, and I'm not sure any stat tells it any better than the rushing yardage totals. 304 for Baylor, 8 for OSU. Just an inability to run the ball, which we knew was Oklahoma State's Achilles heel all year. They told us as much, that run game was really problematic. They wanted to try to get it going, just never could get it going. And then Oklahoma State, just really trying to do that tonight. And once they realized we can't hit our head against that wall anymore and started passing it, they really just couldn't overcome it. That was really the big flaw of this team. And when we talk about magical seasons, they'd found ways to overcome that, but it was just impossible tonight. Baylor just too good in too many areas that really exposed Oklahoma State. And now, you say, well, okay, this is a loss, first loss for the Cowboys. Are they out of the college football playoff? I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, it's just, when you have the brand name of Oklahoma and your loss comes early in the season and you're able to build some momentum, it's a little bit different. And I know that OSU fans might think, well, hey, you lose at home to a top 10 opponent. Shouldn't that be weighed a little differently than that? But it's just kind of how it works in the committee's mind, especially with how this OSU team has been viewed to this point. Maybe this confirms a little bit of what the committee was thinking in terms of not getting them up into that top 4. But like you mentioned, it's still a very talented OSU team. Mason Rudolph still has a great day today. 430 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. So they have the weapons and the guys to score some big numbers. They're going to need that moving forward, but certainly not the way OSU hoped to perform, which was a critical game in that their hopes to make that playoff race.
Yeah, they were one of 5 remaining undefeated teams when the day started. Now we've only got 2, as 3 more undefeateds, including Oklahoma State, fall today. Let's hear what players and coaches had to say after the game.
They made plays early in the game and kind of took control of the game. We battled back, and then we got a couple stops on defense, and we couldn't get anything going on offense. We didn't run the football effectively enough to give ourselves a chance. And we were able to throw the ball some, but they stayed balanced, looking there. They rushed for 300 and threw for over almost 400. So they were able to stay balanced, and we weren't able to stay balanced. And so that was a difficult thing for us, and we never really could overcome it. They have a lot of team speed, and at times they caught us tonight. But I thought our guys fought.
Just it was a bad matchup tonight, right? They got a good team, and I wasn't pleased with our execution. Thought we had a good week of practice, and they had one of those nights. We didn't have an answer to a couple things based on a missed tackle here, or I don't know if there's coverage bust. I know there was one coverage bust, but a lot of them were just them running by us also. So, guys, it was a Greek tragedy, So, I'm a big boy though, so I take responsibility.
Always frustrating when you don't take advantage, and defense is doing a good job, and you want to score for them because they're doing such a good job, and any sudden change has been an emphasis on making sure that we get points on the board. So, yeah, obviously, you'd like to come away with those points when you get them.
They have talented guys up front, and they have great running backs that are able to, make you miss and run through arm tackles. And so, got to give them credit. They do good at what they do, and yeah.
Yeah, I just think D-line have to do a good enough job stopping the run game. We weren't very effective enough this game. No, they were just out scheming us, and it was a bunch of missed tackles too.
Extra motivation, I don't know. For me, motivation in itself is just bedlam. Being from where I'm from, that's personally that's all it takes for me. But I think it will for this team overall. Definitely be a little bit more motivation. There's definitely a lot of guys on this team that will remember that, and you add in the opportunity to play for a Big 12 title. I think that'll help get a little motive going too.
Now bedlam looms for these Cowboys. Obviously a disappointment coming out of Baylor, but a primetime game against their in-state rival, 7 o'clock next Saturday night. It seems like, if there's any question about motivation, enthusiasm, surely a rivalry game will get these Cowboys up for that.
Well, everyone remembers what happened last year, too, as well. These Bedlam games have been high theater for the past few weeks or few years, and this one should be the same. And there's also some questions about OU, the availability of Baker Mayfield, who left the game with an apparent head injury earlier tonight. So that's got to play a big factor. They have to come here into this environment where it's certainly sure to be as cold as it is now, if not colder, and should create some really compelling storylines. Not the mega bedlam we thought might happen with this undefeated OSU team coming in, but certainly a lot on the line for both of these schools as they head into the postseason.
Well, definitely so. As Oklahoma, we believe, still in the college football playoff discussion, Oklahoma State can still possibly share a Big 12 title, possibly win 12 games in the season, which they've not done a ton in this program. So, yeah, still a lot on the line. Again, 7 o'clock next Saturday night. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.